The day my son got thrown, face first, onto the pavement by two fake HOA security guards started like any other quiet Saturday morning. Calm skies, coffee on the porch, and my son Lucas, 17, born with cerebral palsy, finally worked up the nerve to walk through our neighborhood park using just his forearm crutches. No wheelchair, no help, just him and his willpower. We had no idea what was waiting for us. Let me back up for a second. We lived in Brookwood Glen, a picture-perfect HOA-run suburb where every mailbox matched, every blade of grass was government-level uniform, and the people in charge acted like they were running a small dictatorship instead of a housing community. I moved there for one reason: post-surgery recovery for Lucas. It was quiet, had wheelchair access, and I got the house at a foreclosure price. Win-win. Until it wasn't. That Saturday, I parked our car legally in a handicap-designated spot right by the park. Lucas stepped out, shaky but proud, balancing himself with each determined move. "Look, Dad," he smiled. "I'm doing it." And he was. For 7 whole seconds. Then came the golf cart. It swerved so close to my car, I thought it might scrape the bumper. 2 guys jumped off, mid-40s, wearing reflective vests, mirrored sunglasses, and dollar store badges that screamed cosplay more than security. The taller one had Captain Dale embroidered on his chest, like he was about to command a battleship, not police a playground. The other, stockier, younger, shaved head, introduced himself as Deputy Vince. Captain Dale puffed out his gut like a proud peacock. "You can't park here," he barked, even though I had a handicap placard right on the dashboard. "HOA rules. This park is for residents only." "I live here," I said, calmly. "Unit 228. Been here 3 years." "Not anymore," Dale sneered. "We're cracking down on non-compliance, starting with squatters." I blinked. Was this a prank? Lucas, still standing, looked confused. "Dad," he whispered. Then Vince stepped in, looking Lucas up and down. "What's wrong with him?" he snapped. "Is he on something? He looks off." "Don't touch him," I said, stepping between them. My tone shifted, not angry, focused. That courtroom kind of calm I had practiced for years. You see, I wasn't just a homeowner. I was the deputy district attorney for Fulton County. But these guys didn't care. They smelled power like a bloodhound on a scent, and they thought they had it. Vince moved forward anyway, trying to inspect Lucas, and that's when it happened. Lucas's crutch hit a crack in the pavement. He stumbled, and no one caught him. His body hit the concrete with a sickening smack. His cheek split open. Shoulder twisted at a wrong angle. Blood on the sidewalk. Captain Dale muttered, "Should have stayed where you belong." And something inside me broke. Neighbors peeked out their windows but didn't come out. No one helped. No one moved. I knelt beside my son as he twitched, groaning in pain, and screamed for someone, anyone, to call 911. 10 minutes later, help arrived. Not because of me. My phone had no signal. I'd later find out it was jammed by a rogue signal booster someone had installed for security. Help came from an elderly neighbor who saw everything from her sunroom and called emergency services. Lucas was taken to the ER with a fractured cheekbone, a dislocated shoulder, and signs of neurological trauma. For someone with cerebral palsy, that wasn't just a setback. It was life-altering. That night, I didn't sleep. Not because of the beeping monitors or the antiseptic smell. I didn't sleep because something in me had changed. I wasn't just a prosecutor anymore. I was a father on a mission. By morning, I was home with a flash drive, a printer, and a strategy. My Ring camera faced the park. It had caught everything: the approach, the confrontation, the fall. Vince's smirk as Lucas hit the ground. Dale's voice, caught in crystal clear audio: "Should have stayed where you belong." I backed up the footage to 3 cloud servers and mailed a copy to a federal contact of mine. Then I started digging. Dale Mathers, former HOA treasurer, booted 2 years ago after it was discovered he'd funneled nearly $10,000 into security upgrades that never materialized. But he never left. He rebranded himself as Community Safety Captain. Vince Holbrook. No HOA ties. No background in law enforcement, but a sealed juvenile record and a restraining order from another complex after allegedly assaulting a disabled man during a noise complaint. Neither man had authority. They weren't even supposed to be in the park. But they had radios, fake badges, and an agenda. And that agenda, it wasn't just about rules. Turns out, Dale was trying to buy land connected to the park. Land that would lose value if too many outsiders or unsightly elements used the area. You know, people like my son. It wasn't about rules. It was about control, about profit. So I did what prosecutors do best. I prepared for war. That Monday, I called an emergency meeting with the Brookwood Glen HOA board. They met in their community center, plastic chairs, a coffee machine older than me, and bottled water lined up like chess pieces. I walked in, briefcase in one hand, evidence box in the other. I didn't say a word. I just played the footage. The room went silent. One board member left the room to throw up. Another asked to resign on the spot. Dale sat in the back, arms crossed, face tight. "Do you know who I am?" I finally asked. "I'm Assistant District Attorney James Reddick, and I'm about to show you what justice looks like." Dale was stripped of all HOA titles on the spot. But I wasn't done. The next morning, I sent the footage to the DA's office, and within 48 hours, it leaked. No idea who did it, but once it hit the internet, boom, Facebook, Twitter, local news, then CNN. The thumbnail: my son mid-fall, and Vince's smug face frozen like a still from a horror film. The story exploded. By Friday, there was a knock at my door. 2 sheriff's deputies, real ones, they had warrants. And as Dale and Vince were led away in handcuffs, Lucas sat next to me on our porch. "Is this justice, Dad?" he asked quietly. "Not yet," I said, "but it's a start." The trial was televised. The charges: felony assault, impersonating law enforcement, reckless endangerment, and more. The defense tried to spin it, called it a misunderstanding, claimed they were just protecting property, that the badges were a joke. Then came the bombshell. A whistleblower, Stephanie, former HOA secretary, came forward. Emails, audio clips. One from Dale. The disabled one gives the place a bad look. Maybe he'll move. Another clip. If they don't belong, we'll make them leave. Who's gonna stop us? I stood. I am. The verdict? Guilty on all counts. Dale, 6 years, no parole. Vince, 8 years. With conditions and a permanent ban from being near any disabled facility. Lucas sat quietly as the cuffs clicked shut. He didn't gloat. He didn't cheer. He just smiled. And that smile, it wasn't revenge. It was closure. Months later, Lucas spoke at the State Disability Inclusion Summit. Not as a victim, but as a survivor. A voice. Brookwood Glen changed too. New board. Real oversight. A ramp added to the community center. Not by lawsuit, but by choice. One evening, we took that walk again. Same path. Same parking spot. An elderly man nodded at Lucas as we passed. Glad to see you up and walking, champ. Lucas grinned, and I looked up at the sky. Finally blue. If you've ever faced power-hungry HOA officials or seen a system abused for control, I want to hear your story. Drop a comment below. Let's talk about it. Because the only way we fix this is together.